Hello and welcome back. Now in this our video we are looking at while loop, how we can construct better while loop. Now while is one of the loops. Okay, let me just add some comment up here. So we have the for loop, what we looked at, and then coming next is the while loop. So you can go back and then watch the for loop if in case you skipped that particular section. We did a lot of explanation there that we are going to also continue on here, so try to have that initial knowledge from for loop. Okay, now the for loop is just like the while loop is just like the for loop. They have things in common like the condition, like the step and the others. Okay, but we use the while loop when you want certain lines of code to keep appearing, or you want some kind of lines to repeat as far as a condition is true. When I was teaching you condition, I made mention that condition is one of the most important concept or construct in programming, that if you know most of the other concept will be easy for you to comprehend. So please, if you haven't watched the comparison operators and also conditions, okay, these two videos, try as much as possible, go to the programming methods playlist and then watch them. All right, and watch them. I'll try and then also link the playlist down there so you can easily navigate. Okay, that's just by the way. Now with a while loop, this is how it can be constructed. So you start with a while keyword, okay, and then the condition you want to check for will come here. Let me just say do action. This is supposed to be the structure for the while loop. The condition will come here, and then the block of code you want to repeat as far as the condition is true will also come here. Okay, so we can model a real world scenario like whilst worker is working, the action will be keep receiving salary. You get it? So the worker will always receive their salary as far as they are working. Now what happens when they stop working? Where would they get a salary? Are you with me? So another condition can be as far as you are alive, keep eating. So the moment you are not alive, that means you are not entitled to food. You can't eat food. You get it? So it's something like that. If you want to have such in your code, then we go with a while loop. Okay, now while loop can be used for a lot of things. You see, we did printing of numbers with the for loop. Let's look at how we can also do the same with the while loop. We can also use it for printing numbers, but while loop goes beyond that. Okay, it goes beyond that. So let's say over here we are going to count from 1 to 3. Now you don't create variables here like that, like this. You don't do this. It's only the for loop that has this kind of structure where we have the int I and then condition and then a step. But with while loop, it takes just the condition. Okay, so we say I is greater than or equal to 3, and then the action we want to do is we just want to display I on the screen. So I is displayed like this. But the truth of the matter is this line of code will not work, because right here we are using or we are accessing I, but the question is, where did we create the I? In programming, you don't use any variable like that. You should create the variable before you are able to use it. So without creating any variable, there's no way you are going to be able to access the variable. So if we try running the program, you can see we have red line here indicating that there's an error. So I'm just showing you this so in case maybe when coding and you come across, you'll be able to understand why this thing is happening. Okay, now let's check the errors. Let's check the error. It says what? I was not declared in this scope. Whenever you get this kind of message, you need to understand that the variable I you are using is not created yet. So it's two things. It's either maybe it's created, but the name you referred is not as how you created it, or it's not created at all. Okay, so this log screen is your go-to area for debugging. Now most of the time it can be hidden or you can manually close it, But in case it's not there, like I showed you the last time, you go to view, you click on logs, and then logs will display them. You can bring it down. You can also raise it up a bit. Just bring it up a bit, anyhow you want. So how do we fix this kind of issue? With while loop, we are always supposed to create a variable above the while block. Okay, so this is the point of creating a variable, and then the while loop is now assessing the I. So this I is the one we created here. So this time around, the issue will no more be available. That issue is solved. When I run the program, you can see it's working. Okay, so that is it. We have our I created, and then this is our loop. Is taking a condition. So let's take a look at what we have here. We are saying we want to print from 1 to 3. Then we have our I being the initial set to 1, and then there's a condition says what? As far as the I is greater than or equal to 3, print I. Now let's execute this code one by one. Let's look at how the compiler will execute this code. So when it starts to execute, code are always read from top to bottom. So at this line, it will know that the I, when it was created, a value of 1 was assigned. Then it comes to check the condition. So let's substitute 1 wherever we see I. So is 1 greater than or equal to the 3? That is false. So the while loop is just like the for loop. They run as far as the condition is true. So now that this condition is false, the loop will not execute at all. That's why we are not seeing anything on the screen. So each time your loop doesn't run, please check your condition well. Your condition and then your step. Check it well to make sure what you have in mind is in there. It might be that everything is correct, but there's a logical error, as in how you are doing it is not the right way. Okay, so we can only change the arrow to less than. So I is less than or equal to 3. Let's substitute I here. So 1 is 1 less than or equal to 3. That is true. So this code will start what? Will start executing. Okay, and let's see what will happen. When we execute, we are going to get infinite loop. That is a loop that doesn't run, that doesn't end. Okay, you realize down here the numbers keep printing, and if you bring this thing up, you can see it's going up like that. Okay, so that is what we call the infinite loop. Now it happens when the loop is never failing, when the loop is never stopping. It's always executing. It's always executing. And why do you think this is happening? So I is 1, then it will display the I here. It comes again to check the I is again 1. It displays the 1 here, and then comes back. The I is 1. So with the while loop, looking at what we have, the I is always going to be 1. There's no line of code that is increasing the 1 from the I from maybe 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, and then from that it's 1, and then it's always going to be 1. And 1 is always less than the stated condition here. So since the condition is never failing and is always true, the loop will never end. It will run forever. So the question is, how do we fix this, or how do we make sure this kind of issue is no more in our code? The only thing we can do is we have to manually add the step to the while loop. So we add the step by saying I plus equals 1. So the plus equals 1 simply means check the condition. If you check the condition and it's true, you do the displaying. After you are done with the displaying, we want you to add 1 to the value of I. Okay, so let's execute it. We start by 1, put 1 here, which is true. It will display the 1, and then this will add 1 to the I, making it what? 2. Then it comes back again to check the condition. Now coming back again, it will not look at the int I again. That's how the loops, they are made to work. It will just go straight forward to the while block and check the condition. So 2 is 2 less than or equal to 3. That is true. It displays the 2 here, and then step is applied, making it what? 3. Now since this one is 3, it comes to check again. Is 3 less than or equal to 3? And I think that is true, because 3 is not less than, but it's also equal to. So it displays the 3 here, and then it will add 1, making it what? 4. Now put 4 here. Will 4 be less than or equal to 3? That is no. So as far as the condition here is a no or is false, then the while loop will stop working. So the situation whereby your loop, your condition is never failing, it will make your loop run forever. Are you with me? So this one now should work. So you can see we have from 1 all the way to 3. Okay, now this loop concept or repetition concept is really important. Now I realize sometimes when you go to this e-commerce website like Amazon, where you have a lot of products displayed on your website. Okay, so what happens is the program or the programmers will write the code in such a way that it will go to the database and then go to the location where the products are stored. I mean the product table. Then they run a loop to go through all the records on the database, fetch the product from the database, and then do the display one by one. Okay, so it's for loop that is doing the displaying of the product on the web page. Okay, so it's something we need a lot, but for now let's keep in mind the for loop, the while loop, and the other one I'll talk about. They are used for what? Printing numbers. And if you're able to use them for printing numbers, that is you are halfway there. Okay, you're halfway there. So you know what, let me just change this one from let me change it from 1 from 3 to 10 is too much. 30 is too much. Let's make it 10. And if you run it based on the condition, it's going to generate from 1 all the way to what? All the way to 10. Okay, so that is about the while loop. Now I'll give you another scenario where the while loop can also be used. Now aside the fact that the while loop can be used for counting numbers, it can be used for checking for special conditions. Okay, special conditions. So Control Shift C to comment the whole line out. So I'll create a variable strange password and then strange correct password. So the correct password is 123, and then the password is set to nothing. Then we see that whilst the password is not equal to the correct password, this is what is on our phones. You know, it will ask you to enter the correct password, and as far as you are not able to, you know, guess or provide the correct password, the system will keep asking you to retry. So wrong password, retry. Okay, now we have two variables here. Okay, this is one of the use case of the while loop. We know while loop can also be used for printing numbers, but what you'll be using the while loop for most of the time is for this kind of application or scenarios. You see, with the for loop, we know when it's supposed to end. We use the for loop when we know when we're supposed to end. Like you can be asked to write a program for a student of 5 students or a family of 60 people. You know that the end of this kind of printing is 60. So loops, we use the for loop when we know how many times a certain action is supposed to be performed. How many times it's supposed to be performed. That is when we go with the for loop. But the while loop, we use it when we don't know the outcome. We don't know when maybe the particular kind of repetition should end. I gave a scenario that when you are going to print document, you can easily give some number to the printer. Maybe you type 20 and you press print. when you see the 20 there, when the printer notices the 20, it's going to generate 20 document. Okay, that is with the for loop. It acts on setting, like when you are setting about when it should end. But look at your phone, enter correct password, you just try the password, you check and it's wrong, it asks you again. We don't know how many times you will guess it wrongly, because whenever you are wrong, you have to show you message that wrong password, try again. So with this, we don't know how many times they will try it and then fail. So since we don't know how many times, it makes sense to go with the while loop. Okay, so whilst the password the user will type is not equal to the correct password, then we will keep showing them this message we have in the blog. So as far as the password is not equal to the correct one, we just display wrong password, retry. And then right after we have shown them the label or the placeholder, we just let them know that it's wrong. We need to allow them to type again. So the cin allows you to what? Give input. Are you with me? So let's see what will happen. Notice the correct password is 123. So we start the program. So as far as the program is, the password is not correct, it will keep asking you. But if we type 123 and then we hit enter, oh sorry, I think I failed. It's supposed to be 123, not the symbol. So 123, we hit enter. You can see now the program has stopped executing. Okay, so whenever you want to do any kind of repetition that you don't know when it's supposed to end, then you can go with the while loop. Then you can go with the while loop. So that is about the while loop. It can be used for other things. If you want to print numbers with a while loop, this is the construct. If you want to also check for particular condition, maybe you want to perform an action based on a condition, then you can also rely on this one. Okay, but the difference between the while loop and the for loop is what I just informed you. The while loop is used when you don't know how many times a particular action is supposed to perform, and then the for loop is used when you are certain about the count, the number of times a particular line of code or a particular action is supposed to be performed. Okay, so this is it for the while loop. Thank you so much for the time. I want you to subscribe to the channel, try sharing it with your friends too, and like the video, comment as well. Okay, and we'll meet in the next lecture. Bye.